have a talk with you for 10 minutes.
Okay, folks, I don't need PowerPoint, so maybe you can just blank the screen.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, why are you here? Interested in? How do you know what this course is about? You don't know. Okay, good. And why are you here? Okay, seeing online looks good. Anyone else? Have you decided what you're going to do? No? Okay, good. Now, I'll explain briefly what the degree is about, what the career in quantity surveying construction management is about, very, very quickly in some form or other, so that you are better educated and you know what you're getting into. Okay? Now, let me make it very, very clear. A degree, if you were to do the degree at Massey, you will not be doing the bricks on mortar and so on. That's not what we are. A university doesn't teach you trade skills. That's different. So you have career path options, but we don't do that. We do a degree which leads to professional qualifications. Okay? So I just want to make that clear. Okay, now the question that's often worth asking is, who is a quantity surveyor? Who is a construction manager? What do they do? Okay, what's a career path look like? Sometimes even people who are doing the degree or have graduated can't explain it in sort of plain language. So for that reason, you've got this 2-page little sort of blurb there, which you can look at some point, and it's especially targeted at high school kids as well as their parents. Parents who are not in construction. Okay? So it's written in plain language, but I'll run through it very, very quickly. If someone asks you this career thing about quantity surveying or construction management, what is it? It covers 4 things. It covers 4 things, really, in summary. Okay? And the 4 things are, do you know what's TLC? Do you know what's TLC? Tender loving care? Have you heard that? Okay. Well, here's a slight variance to it. It's tender loving care at Massey. So just remember that. Can you remember that? Tender loving care at Massey? So if you come to Massey, you'll get that tender loving care from Wajiha, from Aarti, Reno, James, and possibly me as well. Well, okay. What is TLC then? TLC is the 4 sort of main features of what the degree entails and what your career would look like. The first is technology. This is a science-based course. It's a science-based program. So just remember, technology. You will be taught and you will be involved in technology. By technology, we're talking about building technology, construction technology, whether it's buildings or roads, highways, bridges, dams, or whatever. Okay? So anything, just look around behind you. Anything which is not green is the built environment. Are we okay? So anything which is not green is a built environment. So, can you name me one? Roads? Bridge? Go on. Do you live in a home, a house?
Yes.
Right, that's a built environment. Ah, okay, yeah. And do you go to the malls? Shopping malls?
No, not really.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But do you go to school?
Yeah.
Ah, that's a built environment. Anyone goes to the mall? Do you go to the mall? Have you been to the mall? Right, that's a built environment. So anything which is not green, natural, is a built environment. Okay? So this is where the first thing is to do with technology. Are we clear? Tender loving care, and that's the first one, technology. So you'll be picking up technology. Okay? A number of our colleagues will be teaching that. Not me, but I think James does a bit of technology teaching as well. Second is, well, if you're going to build any of these buildings, you know, where there's an office, a bridge, a road, dam, or a house or whatever, you can't just go to a builder and say, all right, you build it, and they'll build it. Will they just go ahead? No, you need to have some documents between you and the builder, right? In other words, you need to have an understanding of the contract, the legal aspects of it. Okay? In 90% of construction projects, there are no lawyers involved because we use standard forms, standard contracts. So it'll just be between the client and the contractor, and there will be a contract. And that contract will have to be prepared by and administered by the construction manager or quantity surveyor. Are we clear? So you need to understand law, the contracts. So that's L for you. So technology, the legal aspects, everything throughout the whole project. And the third component is, now the quantity. Do you think money is important when you want to build something? Oh, well, you got plenty of money, just build whatever you want. No way. There's a budget, right? You need to, there's limited money for you to spend on any project, really. So, do you think that's important? If your parents are going to build a house, do you think they'll be concerned about how much it's going to cost? Answer? Yeah, okay. So, C for cost. So, the quantity surveyor is a cost expert if you want the accountant for construction projects. Okay? And finally, management. Somebody needs to put the whole thing together, right? As I said, it's not about being a tradie and doing the carpentry or the floor laying or whatever. No, it's about managing the process. People who do trades will be physically doing the works. We teach you how to be managing those projects. So okay, that's the M for management. Those are the four elements. Tender, loving, care, messy, or technology. What is L for? Yep. C and M. Right, there you go. So that, in a nutshell, is all I have to say. No, I'm kidding. I've got a few more things to say, but since I've got a little few more minutes, I'll share a bit more. Would you be interested in a career that get you a job? Okay. Are you interested in a career that you get paid reasonably well? Okay. Let me share with you one thing. Our students in the final year, it's a 3-year degree. In the final year, typically, those who want to work are working full-time. How is that possible? Well, in the 3rd year, all our courses, all our subjects are delivered in what we call block mode, or some call it blended mode. Block meaning you only come for lectures for 3 or 4 whole days, 9 to 5, 9 to 5. The rest of the time is web-based. You submit your assignments online. Do you do assignments at school? Yeah? You submit it online. You don't have to physically come in, pop in and so on, right? So apart from the 3 or 4 days, all of it is online learning, which means you can be working full-time. Are we clear? Right. So that's the advantage. Is it good to be working whilst you're studying? Answer? What do you think? Well, you pick up skills from industry. At the same time, you're earning, right? Do you have unlimited funds? Might you be borrowing to fund your studies or whatever? Well, if you do, and you're earning, that'll be nice. You can pay off your study loans very quickly. I don't know if you've heard on the radio, people are always saying, oh gosh, if you study, for the rest of your life, you'll be lumbered with a student loan. Really? Not if you're earning 40 to 55,000 during your final year of studies. Get it? That's the range of salary that typically our final year students who've got maybe a year or 2 experience will be earning, between 40 and 55,000. So suddenly now student loan doesn't become a major issue anymore. Okay? Okay, so let me just get back. So you understand the contents of it. I just want to quickly talk about where you can work. If you do a degree in this, you can work with a contractor based on site, or you can work in a consultant's office based in the office. Okay? So you have a combination of both. Or you can choose to work in a different environment, for instance. You can work with a bank. Why bank? Banks disperse money for all these billions of dollars of construction, right? So somebody needs to look after the bank's interest to make sure when the money is being dispersed, right? You can work in insurance companies. Oh, building catches fire and somebody needs to rebuild, right? Insurance valuation, for instance, okay? So you can work in a consultancy firm, you can work with developers, you can work with contractors, you can work with suppliers, building material suppliers. And if all else fails, what can you do? Join us at Messi and become lecturers. So you can work in lecturing, or you can join polytechnics, you teach construction and so on. Okay, are we clear about that? So is there demand? Can someone tell me, have you heard in the press about how many new homes we need in Auckland over the next 10 years? Have you read Auckland Council mention it? Can someone just guess a figure? How many new houses do we need in Auckland alone? Roughly?
30,000.
Sorry?
30,000.
30,000? Make it 10 times more.
It's written on your back.
Yes, make it 10 times more. 300,000 over the next 30 years. Okay? 300,000 over the next 30 years. So if you divide by 10, you get 30,000 per. Can you do maths? Are you doing maths? What is 300,000 divided by?
10 years.
Yeah. Okay, 30,000 is 10 years. Okay. So Every 10 years, 30,000 new homes. No, it's not. 300,000 over 30 years. What's that per year? You're allowed to use your pens. Calculate. 300,000 over 30 years. What is that in 1 year? Do you all agree? That's the level of maths you need, folks, to do quantity surveying. So 300 divided by 30. Answer? 10. Yeah, that's it. Okay. Are we okay? Is that what you do? Okay. Anyway, if one house costs 400,000 to build, and we have to build 300,000 new homes, can you do the maths? Whoever gets this answer right is going to get something. What can we give? Ooh, are you okay. Go on. 300,000 new homes, and each house costs 400,000. Who can get the answer? Quick. You can use calculators. You can do, sorry? 1.2 million? 1.2 billion, no? 1.2 billion, no? 12 million, no? Mum is allowed as well. Go on. 400,000 new houses to be built. Each house is going to cost, each house is going to cost 400,000. And we need how much? 120 million? No? 120 billion. There you go. She deserves something. 120 billion. Is that big or small? Right. Okay, so you'll be employed for the rest of your life. How can you finish off 120 billion over the next 30 years? I don't know. If you just work it out, each year alone is plenty. Okay? So anyway, that's the magnitude of the size. Oh, by the way, that is only housing in Auckland. I haven't talked about Wellington and Christchurch, Reeville, and we haven't talked about Sky City Convention Centre. We talked about the second harbour crossing, the roads, the bridges. Look, okay, that's just housing. Okay, got the idea? Good. You've come to the right industry. Now, where can they work? How much you get paid? I've mentioned it. 40 to 55,000 typically find their students. One other thing. If you've got a few years of experience, earning over 100,000 per year is pretty normal. It's pretty normal, okay? So, and what is the New Zealand average salary? Can someone tell me? It's about 50,000? Average, about 50,000. And our students, in the final year with a couple of years experience, are already earning 40 to 55,000. Okay, so just bear that in mind. Oh, I want to say one more thing. The educational experience that you get when you're doing the degree. Some people are skewed towards one side of the brain or the other. You know, mathematicians like, you know, numbers. Those doing law and economics like words. Okay. On our degree, you'll be doing both. Technology as well as the law, the economics, the accounting, and so on. So it's fairly balanced. Where can you study? Massey is the only university out of the 8 that offers bachelor's degree in construction with a quantity surveying or a construction management major. We're the only university out of the 8. Unitec offers it as well. So there's Ara Polytechnic and Otago Polytechnic. Yeah? So those are polytechnics, but amongst the 8 universities in New Zealand, we're the only ones offering it. So there you go. And I mentioned about the degree structure. It's 3-year degree, which means you're not spending 4 years, 5 years doing a long degree and spending lots of money. It's just 3 years, and in the final year, some students spread it over 2 years because they're working full time. So that's pretty normal. And in terms of accreditation, our degree is recognized by the Royal Institute of Chartered Surveyors, which is the largest property construction professional body in the world. It's also recognized by Pacific Association of Conservators, which means it's recognized in Malaysia, Singapore, Hong Kong, China, South Africa, Sri Lanka, Indonesia, Australia, New Zealand, Japan, and so on. Okay? And RSS is worldwide anyway. And of course, it's recognized by the New Zealand Set of Quantity Surveyors as well. Okay? So, entry requirements, you must get 320 points. Do you know what that point system is? Yeah? Are you aware of it? Yeah. 320 points. Is that what you need? That's the maximum you can get. Oh, okay, sorry. You don't need 320 points. You need 80.
Dat is 80 voor general.
Is that okay? Have you already got your 80?
I'm not sure, but
Yeah.
I'll post on it.
No big deal, right? Yeah. Okay, but make sure that are you doing? Have you done some maths at least at year 12 or 13? Yes. Yeah, you've done some maths, okay, which is good. And you've got physics, so even better. And finally, one of my students, she's got 18 years of experience. She's working in the Middle East. Why? Because she's grown up and her children are grown up. She wants to be centrally located. And now I know why she really is working there. Because she came back from holidays. She's doing a master's program. And I asked her, do you guys earn a lot in the Middle East? She said, no, that's all right, but I'm underpaid. I said, really? But why? She was underpaid for 3 reasons. She didn't have Middle Eastern experience when she went there. Second, she didn't have a formal qualification yet. She was just doing the master's then. She hadn't finished it. And the third reason is she said, because I'm a woman. Okay? Then I asked her, so you've been there for 8 months, and what's happening? She said, oh, my boss knows me now. And although I'm still a woman, I'm going to be promoted and earning about close to double what she's earning now. And I said, just curious, when you say you're underpaid now, before you get double the salary next year, how much is underpaid? 200,000 New Zealand dollars tax-free. So I know sometimes you get underpaid, because you're working in a miserable environment or you don't have experience or whatever. But I think 200,000 is not bad tax-free. Especially now that she's got the 1 year experience, probably around about 350,000. Is that okay? Okay, so the sky's the limit. That's it, James.
What's the limit in New Zealand? What's the upper end in New Zealand?
There is no upper end. There is no upper end. I tell you why. If I'm the boss of my own company, Fletcher's or whatever it is, I'm the shareholder, there is no limit as to what construction I can do around the world. So there is no upper limit. I'm a shareholder. I've got 30% shares. I can give myself $1 million or whatever salary. I can do what I want. It's my company. There is no upper limit. Okay, and that's mentioned in there. Okay. Any other questions before we move to the next stage? Any other questions?